Good morning. Welcome, golfers, or anybody that wants to work on their external rotation of their shoulders. So I did this session on Tuesday and it just died in the middle. I was outside and I think my computer overheated a little bit. I also tried to do it this morning and it died about 5 minutes in. So I don't know what's happening with my life, but I'm going to redo this one. Okay, so external rotation of the shoulders. Why do we want to work on that when it pertains to golf or any kind of throwing sports, actually, or swinging sports? When we golf, okay, and we come back in our swing, you have to have that external rotation of the shoulders in order to get to the top of my swing back here. As I swing through and come this way, I also need that rotation. And if you think about the swing as being like a pendulum here, if I am missing even an inch or so on either side, my swing is smaller. If my swing is smaller, the speed and the power of my swing and the impact of the ball, therefore my distance, is going to decrease. So by making sure that you have a good, healthy range of motion in those shoulders, especially in your external range of motion, you're going to hopefully increase that. The other thing that happens when we don't rotate properly is we change something, we compensate, and we don't always hit the ball properly. And if you don't hit the ball square, you're going to splice, you're going to slice, your ball is going to go up in the air. It's definitely not going to go where you want it to. So having that mobility in your body is really important. Okay, so we're going to specifically work on that. So if you didn't do the assessment, I'm just going to quickly review how you know that you need help in this area. Okay, so if you go against a wall, you can bring your feet out a little bit. You want your bum and your shoulders on the wall. You want that natural curve of your back. It's not going to be flat. It's not going to be really rounded. It's whatever's natural. Okay. You're going to bring your elbows up like you're a cowboy. You hopefully want your elbows to hit about your armpit if you can. Okay. You want to come from here and you want to rotate back. Now, what are the compensations you're looking for? If I come here and my elbow drops, so if I can't do it up here and I start here and my elbow drops down to get me there, that's a compensation. You have an issue with rotation you need to fix. If when I come up, my back extends and arches to get me there, that's a cheater compensation. You need to work on your external rotation. And of course, if awesome, everything is great, I didn't arch, I didn't drop, but I can't get there, okay, I need to work on my rotation. Now, flipping your hand back like that, that's not sufficient. When you get there, it means that your whole forearm up to your fingertips touches, okay? The whole thing has to touch without compensation for you to have proper rotation. So how do we work on that rotation? The first thing that most of us want to do is release, okay? So I'm going to shorten this video up a bit by demoing, and then if you want to pause, if you're watching live with me, you just continue on and learn the exercises. But if you want to pause, work on your own for a little while, and then replay, continue, work on it, continue, and just keep pausing the video. That might be a little more helpful than doing an hour-long video, okay? So I'm going to use possibly a lacrosse ball or tennis ball. Towel possibly, yoga block if you want to be extreme, okay? So I'm going to release the muscles. I'm going to start with the muscles in the front. And when you can test yourself, test your mobility right now if you want, okay? See where you can get. When you loosen those muscles in the front and a little bit in the back, you might find that you have better extension right off the bat, okay? So it might not just be a weakness of the muscles and the inability to rotate, it might be the tightness of the muscles. So that's the first thing we're going to address. So what you're aiming for is finding your armpit where it arches right here, never digging into that area, coming forward from that area, okay, right into here, where the chest muscles, your pecs, come up in to meet your shoulders, Okay, so you can feel a muscle, bone, whatever it's right around here. Feel a nice strong muscle. Okay, a little bit of a gap in there, and then your chest. You're going towards the chest into the gap. I'm going to go right there. Okay, that is where I'm going to work first. Then I'm going to roll up. The ball's like a quarter turn of the ball into there. Roll up into there. I am going to stop. You might not have 3 rolls. Okay, you might have 4. I'm going to stop before I get to the collarbone. So I'm going armpit to collarbone, this side of the armpit, this area only. Okay, that's where I'm going to work. I'm going to do that on both sides. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use a yoga block because I have a bit of a distance from here to here, right? So for me to lay flat on this ball, it's never going to happen. You might be able to lay flat on the ground on the ball. You might roll up your towel, okay, and use it. I'm going to use the yoga block. So what I'm doing is finding that area, that bottom spot, putting the ball there, finding that area right there. Hello. And I'm just going to melt. Just push into that, wiggle around a little bit, find those adhesions, those trigger points that maybe don't feel so great. Remember, if it's radiating up to your head, down your arm, that's perfectly natural and normal. It's just that you have a trigger point there that you need to work out. Okay, so you can relax down into it, get a pillow, whatever you need. Once you've kind of melted into that, don't go too aggressive to start with. Once you've melted into it, you can start to move your arms, right? So you can kind of move it back and forth. So you've got some work there. You can rotate it a bit. You can twist. You can come up. Just basically like a little self-massage. Play around. Okay, so for me, this is probably one of my favorite. Just to go to the side and come up with my hand. Okay, so once you've felt a release, you can do this more later. You're going to come up a little higher and a little higher until you get to under the collarbone. Okay, you're going to do that on both sides of your body. So if you want to work on that, if you're not watching me live, you can hit pause, work on that for a few minutes. You might work 2 minutes, you might work 20 minutes, whatever you feel you need, that it's really relaxing. And then I want you to either go back to the wall or sit up and test that rotation again. See if that made a difference. Now, if it comes up and you're like, oh, it feels pretty good here, but man, it's tight in the back. Okay, then we need to hit the back a little bit. So where you're going to hit the back, I wish I had a little pointer. I'll use my rolling pin. Where you're going to hit the back is, okay, hopefully you can see this with my shirt being on. That's what I thought. Shh. Suri's been talking to me all morning. Okay, so shoulder blade. Okay, this guy. Right along the spine of the shoulder blade. Okay, this muscle, that's your lower trap, your rhomboid is underneath. That's where we're going to attack. So I'm going to start. Okay, here's the bottom of my shoulder blade. I'm going to come to about here and start, but you can go anywhere along. So I'm going to find that spot. I'm going to push on that one for a while. I'm going to go up, up, up. I'm doing this with the ball, not like I'm doing right now. I'm just showing you where the muscle is. Right up to here. You're going to lose it here because of the curve. So this whole inner spine, okay, the edge, the insertion points of the muscle into the scapula or shoulder blade is where you want to work. Okay, so how you're going to do that is I would normally put this in a sock. You can go against the wall or the ground. I would put this on a sock and then I would throw it back there. Okay, so that it's hanging down and then I can adjust the height. Okay, I'm going to lay down on it because I like that extra body weight. So I'll quickly demo and then I'll let you work on that on your own a little bit. Okay, so again, if you're watching me live, we're going through it quickly. You can work on it later. So find that first spot. If that's where you need to be, off the ground, leaning onto your other hip, that's fine. Okay, just put a little bit of pressure in there. Roll it around in a circle. Go back and forth, whatever you want. Okay, start to move your arm a little tiny bit. As you get deeper, you're going to find that maybe you can come up a little higher on it, harder, harder, harder. Maybe eventually you can come right up onto it so it's right under you, okay? If you're able to come right up onto it like that, no rush, you might feel a lot happening in the front of your shoulder suddenly, all of those rotator cuffs, okay? You want to let that melt. You can also put a little pillow under your neck if you need to, okay? If you're finding that discomfort in your neck, by all means do it. And then once it's melted, you're going to start to play around with this rotation, okay? So you're going to try to come down. Maybe that's as far as you can come suddenly because you have that pressure there, okay? Slowly, don't force anything ever. Go back and forth. Can you come down this way? Maybe you're right here and that's all you got for now. And then eventually, if you've been doing this for 5 minutes, you might find that you can come flat, no problem. And you can come flat, no problem. I need some work right there, okay? Last night doing this, I was fine. I was absolutely flat. If you let me do this for about 5 minutes, I would be absolutely flat, comfortable, okay? Really tight right now, has to be worked. What I don't want to see you do is as you come down, compensate by lifting your lower back to get down there, okay? That defeats the purpose. Tight, level hips, and just work it and work it and work it. Once you've worked that area, so like I said, I can easily do this an hour if you want to be honest. And then come up, a little higher, work it. You're going to find that it's a little easier as you go higher, possibly. And you're going to keep going until basically you can't hold that ball under. You're going to go to the levator, which is the muscle that attaches your shoulder blade to your neck. Okay, and again, as you go higher, easier, right? It's that bottom part that's going to inhibit the rotation a bit. Okay, you should never feel like you're tearing anything up front here. You're just working it gently. So you're going to do that on both sides. So if you want to work that, you can pause the video, work that for a while. Okay, you have to work the mobility before you can do your strength. So pause now, work on that. The first exercise, if you're back with me, the first exercise that you're going to do, you can do on a chair or standing on a ball. My ball definitely needs some inflation here. We're going to work on some assisted rotations. So this band is actually probably a little too heavy if I have any issues in my shoulder. So if you are really having issues and you need a lighter band, I have a whole bunch of shorter bands that I got from Dollarama that are a lot lighter. Just tell me and I'll throw them in my box out there and you can come get them, guys. Okay. This ball really needs some inflating. I might have to sit up on the chair. Okay. Definitely gonna sit on the chair. So this first exercise, you're going to assist your rotation a tiny bit, okay? So I'm going to actually tie my band so that it becomes single. For these exercises, make sure it's always nice and tight. Okay. I'm going to bring it up to about shoulder height if I can. If you don't have anything to do this with, I have a whole bunch of door anchors coming. Let me know. I think they're around $3, $4. And what they are is basically a piece of strapping with a marble in it. And you stick it into your door. The marble stays on the other side of your door. You close your door and you have a loop at the front that you can put your band on. And you can do many exercises with that because you can go across the top all the way down, even to the bottom of your door, okay? So then you can put it at the right height. So what I'm gonna do is come out here, come into a wide row where my elbow and my shoulder are level, and I'm 90 degrees right here, okay? And then with that, I'm going to assist here. So I'm going to help. So I don't want a gallon of resistance here, okay? I want just a nice little pull. And then I'm going to bring my hand up, 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 and rotate. Okay, so my goal is to get that rotation so that the elbow doesn't come forward from the shoulder, but it comes forward from the hand. So this is going to stay level with my chest, and then my hand is going to try to go back, not wrist, hand, straight line is going to go back and really turn. Okay, so I'm assisting that with my opposite hand. See, I want to cheat. Okay, so if you can't do that with a heavy band, again, you need a lighter band, or you maybe even need to pull, rotate without the band a little bit. Okay, if you're that tight, don't start with the band. If you do not have 90% of the rotation without the band, don't add a band yet. Okay, you don't want to do this. Pull. Okay, if you can't get that range of motion, you need that range of motion. So hook it in, pull it up, back, pull it up, back. Okay, so you're really going to feel that as a pull in here. So you want to do, start with one set of those about 10 times or to fatigue. I honestly don't ever count. I go on my weak side first. If he did 8, I'm only going to do 8 on the other side. Okay, if he did 12, I'm going to do 12 on the other side. And I'm going to do that until I feel like it's fatigued and I'm losing form. I'm not able to do it properly. Okay, you want to go from that one set to eventually doing about 3 sets of fatiguing that muscle. Okay, so if you guys want to stop the video here and do that, you're welcome to that. And then I'll show you the next exercise. Okay, so hopefully you did a few sets of those. The next thing that we're going to do is an external rotation more on a horizontal plane as opposed to a vertical. Okay, so it's going to come this way. So you want a towel just for a little bit of feedback to make sure that you're not cheating. Okay, I would love to use towels when we're doing these in class, but I don't expect everybody to use a towel or have a towel. But if you're at home, use it. So you're going to put that towel underneath your elbow, between your elbow and your body. And that's going to give you feedback, because if you drop that towel, you have an issue. Okay, so what you're looking for is palms up, rotating out, pinching that elbow against the body so you don't lose your towel. Okay, come back, rotate out. Okay, and there's nothing wrong with doing a few of these as a warm-up first before you add the band. Again, if you can't get to 45 degrees there, then you need to do these without the band. If you're only right here, keep doing it, get that range of motion, then use your band. So what does it look like with the band? Okay, you're going to put the band into the palm of your hand, start at the middle, see, right there, this band is too much. What happened, and why I can tell you it's too much, is I'm not using my rotator cuff. I'm using the big muscles of the front of my shoulder, my front delts. So I'm going to loosen up on the band a bit, or I'm going to use a different band. Okay, a little bit better. There you go. Now I can feel that I'm using deep inside. I'm not using the big muscles. Okay. So do I have my full range of motion? Not with resistance, but that's okay. Okay. Again, I should pull out a doll round band for this. Okay. Again, to fatigue. Okay, so you're going to do those. You're going to flip your chair ball around the other side, and you're going to do a set on this side as well. Okay, so that's your external rotations. Do not let your towel drop. Same thing, start with 1 set to fatigue, work your way up to 2 sets, 3 sets to fatigue. Okay, so you can pause the video again, work on those, and then come back and we'll work on something else. Okay, so hopefully you came back. We're going to work on internal rotation now. So this is all about external rotation. But if all you did was rotate this way, this way, this way, you are going to create an imbalance of your muscles between your internal and external rotations. Quite often we have a bit of an imbalance anyway because we're always working forward in an internal rotated position as opposed to an external rotated position. So the majority of the exercises are going to be for external rotation, but because I don't want an imbalance, this one is for internal rotation. So you're going to use the band for this one. Okay. So what you're doing for this, again, if you want to put that towel under there just to make sure you don't take off. Okay. Nope, we're going this way. I always do that. Always do that. Okay. So you want your resistance over here. You're starting on the open position and you're coming to the center. Okay. Open, center. Open, center. So that's internal rotation. Again, it's easy to, this is going to be way more powerful muscle. And it's easy to get carried away and really use the big muscles. So watch that. You're going to feel like, oh man, this is really hard. Or this is like, oh yeah, I can get my black band out for these. Okay. Still try to focus on getting in here. Okay. So you're doing that outward, inward. You notice that I'm slightly different with my hands this time. I am not upward. If you want to go upward, you definitely can. Okay. But this is fine too. The beauty of an upward hand is you do get a little different pull. You can feel that. It eliminates some of the bigger muscles. Okay, so can you feel that? That's your external or your internal rotations. You would flip your chair and do the other side as well, okay? Same thing, you're gonna do those maybe 3 to 4 sets of those. You're not gonna fatigue these guys, to be honest with you. You're probably gonna go all day. So I would do between 12 and 15. You're looking for a little bit of endurance in that muscle. So if you can hit between 12 and 15, 3 to 4 times with those guys, you're golden, okay? You're really good with that. So again, pause, do the rounds of these, come back, and I'm gonna give you another one, okay? More of an isometric one. Pause. Okay, this last one is an isometric stretch. If you can do this up on, say, maybe your bed or a stability ball, it is much more efficient, okay? Because we're gonna go a little bit past our range of motion. You need your ball and a small, and I mean small set of weights, 3-5 pounds absolute max. I don't care how strong you are. If you're doing more than 5 pounds, there is a big risk to tearing something. Okay, so 5 pounds maximum, please. I am going to grab my blocks and take, whoops, the weight off of them so that they are only 5 pounds. Okay, so even soup cans will work, guys. Okay, you're gonna be very cautious. You're gonna come onto your ball. Okay, you're gonna come out until your head and your shoulders, your shoulder blades, the back of your shoulders are all resting on that ball. Okay, and then you're going to rotate down, realizing that, I'll show you here. From here, this whole thing is supported Okay. The only part that's not supported is the back of my arm. Okay. You have to feel supported here. Okay. So I'm going to come here. I'm going to come down right to there. And I'm going to hold that. If that causes any pain, causes your back to arch, you got to go lighter. Okay, go to a pound if you have to. Maybe no weight at all if you need to. You're just here and hanging those arms down. Those arms have a lot of weight to them, realize. Okay. And as you're hanging out here in that isometric hold, that means steady, still, not moving, you're going to feel a really good stretch. Your goal is to allow those hands to go down and rotate. Okay, feeling a really nice little pull. And you could hold that for 3, 4, 5 minutes, whatever you would like. Okay, so start without the weight, then start adding. Maybe don't go right to 5 pounds off the bat. Okay, so you're just going to hang out there. If you feel any pressure that feels negative, like you've lost control at all, then this is not the right exercise for you. Maybe you want to work on just laying on the ground without the weight and just keeping that position open. Okay, so that is the stretch that I want you to do for that. Okay. So that's your external rotation. Shouldn't take you a long time. That releasing at the beginning sometimes takes a long time. When you're done all that, I want you to try your test again. See if it improved. Even if you've improved that much, okay, that is huge. Keep working on it. Slow steps, slow steps, slow steps. And you might find that it becomes easier and easier and easier all the time. Okay? So at 12 o'clock, I'm going to do today's session, which is going to be lower body. At some point here, I'm going to pop on and do yesterday's session, which is upper body stuff, okay, which is the stuff I struggle with. But at 12 o'clock, definitely join me for some lower body rotation, and I'll explain why that's so important too. Okay, so have a lovely day. When you're out there golfing, please be safe. I know that we're not golfing yet, but if you can do this for the next couple of weeks, your body should be ready to go. Have a good afternoon, guys.